Biology of the sea otter. Sea otters are a common sight along the coast of the Pacific Ocean, from Russia to the southern tip of the United States. Nevertheless, despite living in a number of the foremost crowded coastal areas within the world, sea otters are often elusive animals. Normally found in coastal areas like kelp forests and inlets, sea otters are often seen floating on their backs, but are easy to miss if you are not paying close attention. In this video, I will cover the most excellent habits of the sea otter and the way living in water has made the sea otter so uncommonly fascinating. Imagine you are jolted out of your warm bed by a blowtorch. Well, it ends up the ocean is one of the foremost demanding environments for life within the world. In a place where salt concentrations can reach 4 times that of swish water, sea otters have evolved to flourish where most creatures would perish. As well as surviving such unthinkable conditions, sea otters play a leading role within the environment. From what sea otters eat to the tiresome nurture of their small pups, I intend to delve into the helper lives of the sea otter, looking at everything from food and reproductive cycles to the complexities of group living. Adaptations for life in the water. Another amazing adaptation for life in the water is a sea otter's fur. Sea otters have the densest fur of any animal, with some 800,000 to 1 million hairs per square inch of skin. Most aquatic animals have a layer of blubber under their skin as insulation, but sea otters rely on their fur to keep warm instead. Their fur has 2 separate layers to make this possible: a warm, soft undercoat and longer hairs providing a waterproof outer layer. When sea otters dive, air is trapped in this outer layer, adding extra insulation. This buoyant fur also helps keep the otters afloat, which is necessary since, unlike other marine mammals such as whales or sea lions, sea otters cannot hold their breath underwater for long periods. Thanks to this amazing fur and other natural adaptations, sea otters are well suited for life in the ocean. Feeding habits and diet. The sea otter's diet can also be examined to help us understand this extraordinary behavior of spending most of its life in the water. Sea otters feed on a wide variety of marine invertebrates, but sea urchins and abalones are their staple food. While the adult sea urchins are covered with spines that can measure up to 8 centimeters long, the abalones have a hard shell on the outside for protection. Both of these animals live in the intertidal and shallow subtidal zones, and sea otters have to dive down from the water surface to harvest them. When an otter locates a food item, it hovers in front of it in an upside-down position. It then uses its right forepaw to dislodge and grasp the prey, while breaking it free from the substrate, with the aid of the hard integumentary pads at the base of its forepaws, another of its specialized adaptations. This process can take place at the water surface or on the seafloor at varying depths, and the feeding behavior has 3 distinct phases: detecting the prey, capturing, and consuming the prey. Prey is detected by vision, but otters also rely on their highly sensitive iris to search and locate the food. They use a circular swimming posture to create a deep penetration into the water, with the head directed downwards at a vertical angle. It was discovered through diving studies that sea otters in the wild typically feed in short dives of 1 to 2 minutes and dive up to 12 to 14 meters deep for 3 to 4 minutes. Sea otters are also known to use tools, particularly rocks, to modify the surfaces of the prey if the prey is too hard to be bitten through. This is also done to aid in prizing the prey from the rocks. As the otter floats on its back at the water surface, it places the rock on its chest and uses the loose skin on the chest as a table, and it can repeatedly strike the prey with the rock. In 2017, researchers also found that some sea otters along the central Californian coast had developed a unique way of using rocks on their prey as a result of independent trial and error learning. This is known as a local innovation, a newly established feeding behavior that is restricted to a particular region. By using the tool-based foraging data categorized into different tradition regions over a 5-year period, the researchers found that pups are more likely to adopt the tradition of their mother, usually by imitating her. By confirming the heritability of the local innovation that a particular region shares, this unique foraging strategy demonstrates the culture of the sea otters. Therefore, the annual dives that have to be collected for population studies not only tell us about the foraging and resting time, but they also help to build a comprehensive understanding of their culture, persistence, and transmission. By flicking through the pages of history, the insane biology of the sea otter is still driving numerous innovative studies nowadays. Reproduction and family life. Mating takes place at sea, where groups of male sea otters will attempt to mate with a single female. This competition is fierce, and it is not uncommon for the female to be injured in the process. Female sea otters have a period of delayed implantation, which means that once the egg is fertilized, it will be several months before it actually begins to develop. This is an adaptation that gives the female greater flexibility in choosing when and where to give birth, and helps to ensure that the pup will be born during a time of year when food is plentiful. Gestation. The period of time during which the fetus develops in the mother's uterus lasts for around 6 to 9 months. For the last month or so of pregnancy, females will come ashore to give birth. Although sea otters spend nearly all of their lives in the ocean, they rely on the densest fur of any animal to keep them warm in the cold Pacific waters. Female sea otters will typically care for their pups on their own. Sea otter mothers are known for their doting and protective nature toward their offspring. Even after birth, the young sea otter pups will remain with their mother and continue to nurse. The mother will wrap the pup in kelp, a type of seaweed, to keep it from floating away while she dives down to find food. Sea otter pups are not born with the ability to float on the water, and so must be taught by their mother. It's usual for the pup to remain with the mother for the first 8 months of its life. This close, nurturing relationship with the mother is important to the long-term survival and development of the pup. Good examples of this can be seen in Monterey Bay, California every year. Sea otter mothers give birth to their pups at a place called the wharf, and the female sea otters usually stay in the same area. This means that mother and pup get to know each other, seemingly to understand companionships and social bonds. Female sea otters themselves depend on social relationships with family members and other females, as these relationships contribute to the success of the maternal care strategies. Such social bonds are strengthened through the process of grooming, comforting, and vocal interaction. It seems like a tight family. However, the male otters are shunned away from the bays, as they may be a predatory threat to the otter pups. The mentioned term behavior, which includes reproduction and rearing of young, to some extent, provides a way of understanding how sea otters interact in their surroundings and responding to their needs to survive. The relationship of sea otters and the support of their study might run in an important feedback loop. Conservation threats. Sea otter populations have been under threat for many years. In the last century, hunting and oil spills in the sea have been particular dangers. And while many of these have stopped, there are still new hazards appearing and old ones remaining. Perhaps the biggest current threat for sea otters comes from oil pollution. In the last 10 years, sea otters have really suffered in the areas of ocean where oil is exploited, for example near California. When sea otters become covered in oil, it destroys the insulating effect of their fur and they easily get very cold in the water. As a result, they cannot go diving to feed and soon die from starvation or hypothermia. It does not sound as if oil spills are such a threat today. However, numbers of sea otters can change a lot from year to year. And these up and down changes are usually caused by things which kill a lot of otters quickly. When that happens, the health of the entire population becomes delicate, because there are fewer otters breeding each year, and the numbers can easily swing back down again. Cruise ships are the new danger for sea otters, and the contributors to the oceans are trying to decrease the transfer of alien species, threats from ships, and also noise pollution. There are still great conservation efforts for sea otters remaining. In many parts of the world, conservationists are fighting hard to protect sea otters from these threats and ensure that their numbers continue to increase. Museums are also helping by holding specimens which allow geneticists to do research into the differences and similarities between sea otters all over the world.